Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Unmasked Project. Today we have a very special guest. It's someone who was my relationship coach when I was single, who without her I wouldn't be married today. And we brought her on the show today to coach Layla and Layla's polyamorous relationship. Her name is Mary Jo Lorei. She's a phenomenal relationship coach and facilitator with over 20 years of experience facilitating trainings all over the US. She's gonna hop in, she's gonna coach Layla. We're gonna get into how to find the relationship that you want and the sort of work you have to do within yourself to find it. If that sounds exciting to you, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's hop in. Mary Jo, I am so excited to have you on the show today. And I know Layla's meeting you for the first time, but I've been
I love
talking
you
you up
already.
for so long.
Mhm.
And I just, for those who don't know, audience doesn't know you yet, besides the introduction we just gave, but I wouldn't even be married without you. So I think that like full circle for you to be on the show now to be able to support like both of us with relationship stuff, but and maybe we'll get into that later, the advice you gave me. But I think just to be here with you on camera is so awesome for me. I'm still fanboying from here, but honestly, like if nothing else gets out, thank you
Oh my
because
God.
I get to have the relationship of my dreams now because of how you push me and challenge
You know
me.
what? I will say this with confidence. There aren't a lot of people I could say this with, but I have never put my hand in yours and jumped and been disappointed. So,
It's so cool. That's so sweet. Super sweet.
so I'm
Oh
so glad to
man.
be here, honey.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. And why part of why we want to have you on is because Layla, my friend here, who I love dearly,
I
um,
can tell.
is in a really like she's one of my best friends, and I want the best for her. And she is married. She's
Hmm.
in a polyamorous
Hmm.
relationship. She is married, and it's been her goal for over. This is her second year where it's been like beginning of the year on the goal list. I want to have a boyfriend.
Okay.
Right. And so we've gone in and out of relationships. And so in the last episode, we just talked about how the most recent boyfriend she found, it started going through some challenges. And so I was like, you know what? I'm kind of at the end of my skill set on this. Let's bring in someone who is passionate about relationships and humans in relationship. And like, I couldn't think of anybody better
You're
than you.
awesome. Thank you. I do love connecting people and being that sometimes it's a conduit between what I believe I mean and what I actually mean. So it's always been a real privilege for me to get to listen people back. So the one thing I will promise you is through me, you will hear yourself at a different level. And that'll be the one promise I can make for you today. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So let's find out what's between what you want and where you are.
Okay. You want me to tell you a little bit?
I do.
Okay. So his name is James, and we met. He was my music teacher, and then we were good friends for a couple months. He's in his 30s. I'm his first real I'm his first serious relationship,
Okay.
and that's kind of a lot of pressure. He
On
also,
who?
I'm sorry,
On who?
on me. I
Okay.
feel like it's a lot of pressure. Um, he's also so not only is he new to polyamory in general, but also to relationships in general. So when we got together, it was very hot and heavy. And it's been 2 months of it being hot and heavy. Um, and Brian doesn't know this yet, but we did end up breaking up. And it was, I went to a music festival with my husband, and I had been seeing James daily for about 2 months. And I knew eventually I was going to have to kind of reel it back a little bit because I have kids, I have a family, I have a job, and things were falling at the wayside. So I knew I was going to have to kind of like reel it in a little bit eventually. And I knew that that was going to hurt him. I was at a music festival for about 4 days, no communication because I didn't have service. I told him, hey, when I get back on Saturday, I'm going to be fried. And then Sunday, I have plans with my family. He comes over on Monday. I still feel sick. And I felt like he needed me. You know what I mean? Where he needed me so much that that pressure just felt like too much. And I kind of very quickly broke up with him. And I feel like I probably maybe should have communicated with him better, but my head was so loud and I was just so overwhelmed by so
Okay.
many things that I just cut it off with him. And we didn't speak for a week. And then last night he came to my house And I kind of apologized for breaking it off so abruptly. And
For breaking it off or the way you broke it off?
the way I broke it off.
Okay.
I think it was the way that I broke it off. I was too scared to tell him that I needed to redefine our relationship because I thought that was almost going to be more hurtful for him than just shutting it down completely. I thought that was going to be less confusing for him, but it turns out that that hurt him even more. When he came over last night, I kind of expressed the type of relationship that I would like to have, where maybe I see him once a week, more of a common partnership as opposed to me being his primary.
Okay.
Because he wasn't my primary.
Correct.
Right? So he was putting all of his passions into me, and I had to put them in other spots. And so he felt neglected, and that freaked me out, and I ended it. So after speaking with him about it, he says he's open to the idea of keeping it light and keeping it slow, but he needed to process it. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And I've kind of been a wreck. I feel guilty, but
I can tell.
like, I don't know if I should feel guilty or did I do the right thing or I'm putting too much pressure on myself. I'm in my head a lot. I don't know where to even start.
And it's very loud up there, honey.
Yeah, I know. It's loud in there all the time, but this one's killing me.
Which part?
Like, he's so deserving of someone that can fill his cups, and I don't have the capacity to be able to do that. And when I say that to him, he says, I'm a big boy. I can take care of myself. But I can see and feel his insecurities with me in our relationship, and that lack of confidence is starting to upset me because I feel like I have to kind of pick up a lot of the pieces for him and kind of take care of him in ways that I don't have the time or space to. Does that make sense?
So somebody that hasn't been in a relationship before, what's the pressure on the one that has more knowledge? In your, what are you defining as the pressure?
That I feel like I have to teach him how to be in a relationship, but how to set boundaries in a relationship.
Okay.
And not just that, but the extra element of polyamory.
Okay.
I feel like I have to kind of teach him the ropes. And in the beginning, I felt like I had the capacity to do that. But after doing it for 2 months, I was just getting tired and it started to feel really heavy.
Well, yeah. Because what do you want? Why do you want a boyfriend?
I think I wanted a level of intimacy that other partnerships that I had, I wasn't receiving, right?
Okay.
Like a level of vulnerability that I wasn't giving these other partnerships. And I wanted to be excited about someone. I wanted someone that I had butterflies for and someone that had butterflies for me. And this is the first time it was mutual. So like, that's what I wanted and that's what I got.
That part's a little bit hard to give up.
Yeah.
Oh no, because it's so yummy. I know I'm allergic, but I'm going to eat this strawberry and then blow up like a balloon.
Yeah. I got exactly what I asked for. And then I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I didn't hear that you wanted to be in charge. When you say boyfriend, I don't hear you say, I want a sub. I want a boyfriend. That to me is equal language.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
So I'm going to have you, I know you know what it feels like to get busy up here. So solar plexus, just put your hand right over there. It's our life force center. It's kind of our center of knowing. Is he your boyfriend?
No.
Okay.
Can he be a partner?
I don't know.
I
don't know.
I want him to be.
Well, then that is something that you then now were off about you having a boyfriend. He's not your boyfriend. Is boyfriend still important to you?
No. Like having a boyfriend? No.
Okay. But a steady butterfly interaction, a spark.
That's important to me.
And playmate?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you say intimacy, define your version.
Intimacy for me is like that true vulnerability and being completely authentic to myself, and then like, literally taking my mask off.
Yes.
And showing him little Layla that's inside.
Okay.
And that makes little Layla feel safe. I think that's what intimacy means to me. Someone that, when they hold my hand, I feel safe.
Okay.
That's what it means.
And what would be their intimate experience do they also get to take the mask down?
Yes.
Okay, because you had an opinion about his insecurity when he took his mask down.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's okay?
Oh, fuck.
No. I know we say what we want, and then when we really take a look at what it means, maybe that's not exactly what I mean. Because intimacy isn't uninvolved. Intimacy isn't all the ups and the highs. Intimacy is all. If I'm really going to open, it's usually the reason we crave it is because I haven't been safe to show this to somebody and feel approved of, or feel accepted, or feel like it's okay, right? And they're going to have that same experience, my darling. They are going to have that same experience.
Well, I feel bad because I want him to be able to give all of himself to me, but I think his lack of confidence and his lack of security
Okay.
really influences me.
Yeah, I can tell. And that you have jurisdiction and sovereignty over this is welcome here or this doesn't work for me. But you know what you're spending a lot of time doing? Filling in his narrative. He's doing this because he's never been in a relationship, or he's doing this because you're filling in a lot of things. And really, your only job is this works for me and this doesn't. This lack of confidence actually doesn't work for me.
Do I just tell him that? Do I say, get more confident?
Well, you have to say, this level of confidence isn't working for me, and I don't know what it's going to take because you're not his confidence builder. He is.
Do I tell him to go to therapy? I don't know.
Well,
what to
here's
tell
the
him.
thing, my darling. Are you trying to keep him or having what you want? Because they might not be the same thing. Because right now it sounds like you're sacrificing a bit
That's how it feels.
to make it work. So at that point, am I keeping, and I do this with people in relationship all the time, am I keeping the person or building the relationship I want? Because if you're doing his work for him, you're not building the relationship you want. Now he, of course, I mean, have you seen you? Have you met you? He's going to say yes to whatever it needs to be with you because he's besotted. Who wouldn't be? But that is the one part then that does bring your responsibility factor in. I have this amount available for you if that works for you. And I will need this in return. And if it's not there, we'll need to call it out and make a decision what to do about that. But as you say, he has never been in a relationship before, which doesn't have to be a bad thing. Okay, my sister just has the best expression. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
The dumber the farmer, the better the crop. If I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how to do it wrong. Right?
Yeah.
So you've got somebody that's literally building the concept of relationship from the ground up. So he's still forming his definition. You're not obligated to fulfill that for him. This is what relationship means to me. This is what I am looking for. And if you can meet me there, we can explore this. But if it becomes these markers, because I love that you miss me when we're not together because I think of you too. But it's a problem that you miss me. I'm not open to. Because I just listened back what I heard you say. You actually do love that you're on his mind, but you don't want to feel like 4 days without you now caused a problem that, you must do something with.
Right.
So you're real clear, honey. You're actually clearer than you're giving yourself credit for. Now, honestly, hand over your solar plexus. How hard do you think it will be to find the same level of twitterpation with somebody that can meet you where you want to be met?
I don't know, because I hadn't found anyone in 4 years, and I finally find someone sort of aligned.
That's what I'm saying. So there's a little bit of a story there. Can you hear it? It took this long to get it close. So don't grasp with a scarcity mindset. You have a dream, you have a vision, you have something that's really yummy that is going to enhance your life. That's why you want to bring it in. Because I can hear you. This is going to support you as a mother and as a businesswoman and as a partner with your husband and all those other things. That's what you're looking for, something to merge in and enhance your life, not detract it or overtake it. So you're really clear. Now, if you believed you deserve it, and if you know you can create it, you will not hang on to this out of fear, scarcity mindset. It's abundantly out there. But while you're holding this, nothing new can come in. So if you think that there is enough to work with here to give him a shot, you need to determine where your stops are. This is a go no further then. I will not tolerate any more than this then. And if we can be in that open and discovery together, you offer, receive the answer, and make your choice. But you are not in charge of any relationship. You're responsible for it, but you're not in charge.
Mm.
What are you hearing right now?
The you are not in charge. I feel like my body like relaxed.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah. Because I did take on a level of like responsibility, right? And I almost like I felt like I had to lead and take charge. And I think in the beginning, I think I was excited about that,
Sure.
right? Because it does make me feel powerful.
It's intoxicating.
It can be, right? It
Sure.
can be a little bit of like a drug where I'm like, let me show you the world, right? Like, let me show you what love is. And then let me take you to a party. And then let me show you like how, you know, a good girlfriend should be and all these things. But yeah, it just got to a point where I just
Now,
couldn't do
here's
it.
where I'd love to offer you something that is truly yours. You cannot teach him what love is. You cannot teach him what a girlfriend is. You can teach him what you know love to be. You can teach him what you know girlfriend to be.
Mhm.
You can't teach him what those concepts are because they're yours. Because you don't have the same definition of girlfriend that I do. We'll probably find a lot of overlapping, but it won't be the same. So I can show you this, introduce you to this because he's never had any version of it at all. But no, you're not going to actually teach him about relationship. You're going to give him an experience for him to learn what relationship means to him.
What if relationship to him means something more than what I can give, but I don't know. I guess I already know the answer to that is just
Go
like
ahead.
letting
Finish it out. Finish it out, but don't finish it out with chagrin. Finish it out with boldness that you just heard yourself for the first time enough to say it out loud.
if girlfriend to him means the ways that he's acting now, then I'm not the girlfriend for him.
Mhm. And he's actually then, thereby, by definition, not the boyfriend you want either.
Yeah.
But he's yummy.
I love him though.
I know you do.
So is it appropriate to kind of no, is it okay that I mean, that's what you said before, like tell him exactly what I want and then see if he meets me there? And
Absolutely. Now, unapologetically and completely non-obligatory. This is what I am very clear I am looking for and what this particular vein of relationship means to me. Can you play with me there?
Mhm.
And if not, cool. Isn't it great you know that? Because I know what I want too.
Mhm.
And then there's no you're wrong or I'm right or any of that nonsense that you're afraid of because I know you don't want to hurt him. It's all over you. How long has it been since you realized you don't have to hurt you to avoid hurting others, or you don't have to hurt others to avoid hurting you?
Oh, God, I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Because you don't have to give up what you want to be with somebody in relationship.
It's just like hard when you love someone so much that you just like so desperately I don't want him to feel like I love him less because I'm having to retract a little bit.
Mhm.
And I think he feels that way. And I'm not responsible for how he feels.
No, never, never. And this is the love I am offering. This is the quality. This is the texture. This is the size.
But for the first 2 months, I was saying like, this is what I have to offer. And it was so much. So is it wrong to like,
Redesign?
yeah, like, am I
Okay.
being a bitch for being like
So how old are your
actually
kids?
4 and 7?
Okay. And you're still married to their father.
Hmm.
So what happened when you no longer had the quantity of time?
Yeah, we had to reevaluate a lot of things.
And obviously made some decisions about how to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how often does your husband just whine and cry and say, it's not fair, those two little brats get all your love and attention? You know, it's bad enough they came out of there. I just want to get in there, like all that whole conversation. Like, can you imagine how absurd that would be?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because you respect him.
Mm-hmm.
You're having a real relationship co-created by the two of us. You want that same thing in this other situation. You got to treat it with the same level of dignity, same care of respect, and you're clear. It doesn't mean I love you any less. This is the love I have for you. And there's nothing wrong if you can't meet me there. I'm still going to love you, just not in this particular way anymore.
Yeah.
And you want to be loved that way in return, honey.
Yeah.
Do you want to be in charge of this second situation, Ship?
No.
Okay.
No.
Now that you're real clear about. So that is the thing. When the chaos comes, now somatic is really important to me. So that worked twice,
Mm-hmm.
real clear for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that physical touch to remind you there, I do know. And I got to move into what I don't know from what I do know. I don't have more than this to give. And it's very easy to suddenly, when I'm Twitter pated, give up all this time and energy, but it's not sustainable. That's not what I'm up to here. And you do love him. But if he is not going to meet you in the relationship you need, then that will be the choice you need to make. I will give up the relationship I want to stay with the person I love, or the person I love will meet me and create something that works for both of us. That's really it. Those are really the only choices. And I'm going to guess you know when he's saying yes, and it's a likely an unfounded yes because he doesn't know what he's saying yes to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a fear.
Yep. So that'll be, again, clear markers so that you can remind you where your boundaries are as you explain them to him. Because that's just you holding. This is the time I have. This is the energy I have. And this is what I want in exchange. And if it's no, it's not a problem. It really isn't. You've just prioritized what you want over what you're getting.
I think I feel guilty a lot for like a lot of things
I
all
can
the time.
tell. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that. Why are you responsible for other people's feelings?
Oh, God. How dare you do this to me? No. This is
Nice
all-
to meet you. May I scalpel, please?
I've been in that.
No,
I've
it's
been in that chair. Like,
whew, shit. I mean, I think at like an early age, I feel like I was in trouble a lot,
Mm.
whether it was warranted or not. And very strict household. Georgia.
So their emotional experience let you know if you were doing okay.
Yeah.
Ah, which is very much a childlike paradigm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the woman in you needs to take that little girl by the hand and say, their feelings are their feelings. I can respect them and honor them, but they're not mine. I didn't do that. In fact, do you know what I have all couples that work with me? First contract they sign. You make me feel comes off the table.
Mm.
Not only in their language, even in their thoughts. They have to catch themselves. And I got to tell you, that first 6 weeks to 8 weeks is like so much efforting. So much efforting because we do it all the time. We don't realize it. You make me feel. It's in our vernacular. You can't make me feel anything. I am a fully formed emotional being, and I will create an emotional experience based on how I interpret or receive the stimuli that's coming in from around me. They have emotions. Now, we keep in mind, we affect people, for sure. And emotional cues is a feedback loop. But one of the things I'm clear of, I cannot prevent you from ever feeling hurt. But I can promise you I will never be hurtful.
Mm.
That's actually my sovereignty. That's actually my jurisdiction. I will be kind. I will be loving. I will be honest. And you will have your emotional experience, and I will respect your right to do so. But they will have their emotions based on how they are working with whatever it is that you are offering. So you can empathize. You can even sympathize. But feeling guilty that someone's having an emotion is keeping you out of actually caring for them. Because in bottom line, who's guilt about?
Who's guilt about?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Me.
Always. I feel guilty because.
Yeah.
And what I want to be in is relationship. So take the focus off of my guilt and could I have said that better? Could I have been more honest? Well, good. That helps me be loving, kind, compassionate.
Mhm.
But I cannot prevent another person's emotional experience. I just can't. That's beyond my purview. So the more I grow myself as instrument to be who I say I will be in this relationship, let alone in this world, I'm more likely to generate the feedback I want.
Mm.
So I hear you about the guilt, honey, but it's wasting a lot of your energetic currency right now. So if you ever want to do some work on that, you let me know.
Oh, girl. Yes.
Okay. It's a drain. It is an absolute vacuum. It's a black hole of emotions, energy, and resources.
Mhm.
And we can actually shift that into possibility if you want.
Yeah, I'd like that because it's more than just this relationship. I feel like guilt is my, primary or secondary emotion with
Mhm.
most of my emotions.
You go into when guilt, and Brian, you and I have discussed this too. Preventative energy and creative energy are two different sources. I can create something or I can prevent something. So we prevent what we don't want, we create what we do want. You with me so far?
Mhm.
Guilt is highly focused on preventative. I don't want to feel guilty. It's preventative energy and it's not prolific. It actually just focuses on the negative. It focuses on what I don't want. It focuses on what I want to avoid. And that soon is taking up all my bandwidth. So I don't want to feel guilty that, fill that in.
Me?
I don't
What?
want to feel guilty about what? And go ahead and just use that current situation.
I don't want to feel guilty about breaking or I don't want to feel guilty about slowing things down with James.
Okay. What I want to create is,
A dynamic that works for me and my life.
so shift from here to here. I'm going to create this in this exchange. I am creating what I want. And I'm giving you a shot to be a part of it. And if you are a no thank you, no problem. But that's got to be known inside before you connect outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you care for him, he deserves that. He deserves that. Imagine where we'd all be if our first relationship was with somebody that cared enough to be honest in a kind way. I'd be out of business because nobody would have shit anymore they're carrying around to break through. Imagine if that's actually what you get to teach them. This is what a woman who is both honest and kind looks like and feels like and impacts like. Because if you're being honest and caring, what is there to feel guilty about?
Yeah.
I just really, too, want to acknowledge your level of intimacy right now is both highly attractive and endearing. And I love how polished you are. And I also love that you are simultaneously messy. For what it's worth. Now, that's just my proclivities. Those are my preferences. It's what I appreciate. But yeah, to get to love that, have somebody have that with you on a slowed down basis or a less frequent basis is entirely possible because we just did it.
Thank you.
Well done, girl.
My gosh. I feel like I need a nap. I'm sweating. I felt like you put me in a trance.
Yeah,
There
you
was
did go.
there was so much in there you touched on that I think is so important for people. And if they're not, if we're not explicit about it, they might miss it. Where you, and this was your feedback to me often, was that I was clear when we first met on what I wanted in a person.
Correct.
And I had a list
remember this conversation.
of 20 to 25 things I wanted in a person. And then I remember Mary Jo looking back at me and saying, well, what do you want in the relationship? Like, you're not telling me. So you're out there looking for this person, but you're not actually talking about the values that you want in the relationship that you can create. And so I remember I went back to the table and it was really hard. And I brought it down to 5 or 6 things, right? Here's what I want in the relationship, the real values.
What I remember was that moment when I said to you, hear how you're describing this person. Now think of the relationship you want as a person. How would you describe that? So the qualities of the person you're looking for, shift that. I want to build this relationship with somebody. Now, describe it like it is a person. So I want somebody who's
Ambitious, right?
ambitious. Great.
Right.
I want productive relationship.
Mhm.
And that's when it like clicked to you and it made sense to you because it is a living being. Relationship is a living being. And then when you started that, then
And then you started that. So I started that, came up with like, all right, I want it, for example, I want a relationship that is that values contribution to others and being in service to other people. I mean, this podcast is essentially being in service to other people, right?
a wonderful service, by the way.
Thank you. And then I came back to the table, and then Mary Jo goes, "Are you those things? Like, do you stand up to the values that you say you want in a relationship? Because if you don't, then you'll meet that person in the real world that embodies those values, and they won't be able to see you for who you are because you won't line up with that. So then you basically ask me, like, are you in contribution and service? Are you a person of integrity, right? Are you out having fun and being adventurous, right? So many people want a fun person because they're not fun, or they want someone who has money because they don't have money, right? And often, and I so love that you said this, that because Voodoo was on the show recently, and she was someone, she kept running into the same relationship patterns over and over again because she was trying to avoid being in a relationship with her dad. And it was such a good
I tried that and then I married, I ended up being involved with my mom.
Yeah.
Whoops.
But it was like,
Damn it.
Get them next time.
But it's like the more you focus on not wanting that, the more you're going to end up in that situation over and over again.
Exactly, because energy attracts energy.
Exactly. And so as you're saying and coaching Layla to this, what I'm hearing you really say is like hone in on the relationship that you want,
Correct.
less the person. And then you'll more clearly be able to see as people show up, will they like 1 + 1 equal the relationship that I was trying to design right here? And so,
I'm so glad. I love that. I love that landed for you. And I just admire and respect how you picked it up and worked it on your own, came back, got a little bit more, and then worked it on your own. Like you meant it. You meant it. And I have walked people through that. Like everybody can come up with their laundry list for me about, I want them to be this, and I want them to have this, and I want them to have that, and da da da. So now this perfect person shows up. What are you going to do with them? I have no idea. Like, I don't want to build with them. I have figured out who the person is before I know what the alchemy that the two of us will be. So how do you know what this really is? Like, you might be naming things that are important to you in having somebody in your life. But again, until you see this, because then the priority of what is important, because taller than me was always on my list. I am not a delicate flower. I'm 6 feet tall. I want to feel dainty. And then when I looked at the relationship I wanted to build, how important was height? Nothing. Feeling 10 feet tall, that's what was important.
Brian's so obsessed with his height, so I love that you brought that up.
No, it's,
Any opportunity he has, he's like, I'm 6'2".
What?
I'm too big to be in here, you guys.
Well, what drives me crazy though, and I was going to go on a rant about this at some point on the podcast, was one thing that bugs me is when people ask me if I have any single friends. So ask me, hey, do you have any single friends, especially guys that have done the work? I know a lot of guys who are doing a lot of work on themselves, but then I'll flip it and I'll ask them, well, what are you looking for in a relationship? And based on the responses I get back from the human, I know whether I will introduce you to a friend of mine or not.
Great.
If you respond back to me, you're like, well, I want someone who's like tall and hot and has their life together. The more surface level it is, it's telling me that they haven't done the work yet to know what relationship they want. So I'm not going to open up my Rolodex to the guys that are doing work.
It's almost like you want all these ingredients, right? You want all these ingredients, and then they have all the ingredients, but you can't bake anything good if you don't have those ingredients too. And then the surface stuff, it's like, okay, I want sprinkles and icing, but like the cake's still shit.
Right,
you
exactly.
know?
Or it's meatloaf.
Right.
Because it actually does happen.
Yeah.
And when it happens that way, this is the way we're trained. This is the way we're conditioned. Because I did it for myself. Now I do it with other people. Is this one perfect one, the one that gives me that kiss that will wake me up from a deep sleep, that one in how many billion of people on the planet that I am supposed to be with? Oh, no pressure. And then relationship doesn't feel good or it doesn't look like what I thought it was or so disappointing. Then what do I blame? Wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're a less esteemed person, there's something wrong with me. And it has nothing to do with the two individuals. If we haven't designed what the alchemy is going to be, so I do this relationship formula, me plus you equals relationship, because that's actually the goal. I can't change you, but I can change our relationship by how I'm being with you, how I'm relating with you. So when we shift that focus, then suddenly like I am committed to loving and joy in my relationship. And Brian, you come home after a shit day. I mean, traffic bad, and that asshole said this, and rah, 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 rah. Now, instead of looking at you going, you're not joy right now. You're not love right now. I look at you, look at joy and love, and go, what do I need to mix with that will make this? And I will probably zerbert you on the stomach. I will get you a glass of something of your favorite. I will give you a time-limited experience to vent yourself, because that's what's going to get us to joy and love.
I have a question. What if you don't have the space to provide that to your partner in that moment?
Well, again, whatever I have, because I'm still looking to joy and love. So joy and love, the best thing might be, hey, babe, I can hear you're stressed out right now, and so am I. So how about you take care of you, I take care of me, and we meet in the living room in a half an hour.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
That's still the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the focus there. And then that just shifts how I can show up, and it takes some of that pressure off. I'm responsible for your experience instead of what we're co-creating. Yeah.
This is like the relationship conversation I'd love to have with the person who's asking me if I have a friend. It's just not,
Yes.
it's just usually not where they are. Like the other thing I look out for is if a breakup happened and they spend most of their time blaming the other person
Mhm.
versus owning how they're responsible in it, it's just a signal to me that they're not there yet. But I want to come back to something about her because
Great.
because
I could talk about her all day.
but I'm going to start with me, and then
Great.
Circle back.
you'll connect the dots, right? Trainer talk. So I got my list, right? Hey, here's what I'm looking for in a relationship.
Mhm.
And then I would find people who I thought, and you know who some of my ex-girlfriends are, they were willing to meet me there. But I felt like they were great people. I'm not taking anything away from them,
Absolutely.
right?
And
amazing people, right?
not
But
right
they
for
were
me is not the same as wrong.
not right for me, but they were willing to
That's what I'm
try
saying.
because of me.
Yes.
Right. So they were willing to say, all right, that's the list. I don't know how I kind of feel about these pieces, but they didn't say that in that moment. And then they chose into the relationship. But then over time, I can kind of see after 4 seasons with them, like they're not really committed to this. And so let's say Layla does do this work. There is a concern that James will just say, yeah, I'm in. But like you said, not really know what he's choosing into. So how can she best be equipped in responsibility to notice that and make the call to say no?
Again, the safety net there is, because you're talking to somebody that believes their yes is genuine, and you have a sense it might not be. It might be naive.
Mm.
You don't know what you're actually saying yes to. That's what we're discussing, yes?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, great. So if there's a sense of that, then the safety net is, so these will be the signals we will be looking for.
Mm. Okay. Is this something I talked to him about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if you think that yes in any way, shape, or form, because I even have to do it after, 14 years together. Because I got a distracted yes. I got a naive yes. You have no idea what you're saying yes to right now. So rather than tell them that, assume that I'm right. I ask a couple of questions or put in some safety mechanisms, like, meaning if it's not done within a week, then we need to talk again. Or if this conversation keeps getting repeated, the conversation of it's not enough, then we'll have to pause and say, hey, this is one of the signals we said is outside of what the relationship is that I am offering.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you put some of those in so that you kind of pay that up front so that when it does occur, then you have that reference point. Yeah, this is what that yes was. Sometimes it's going to feel like this, but this is what's still being required. So a little bit of agreement, a little bit of managing of,
Yep.
It's funny because Jay and I were friends for many years before we got together. So we had a long bra friendship before we ended up, lighting it on fire. And so some of those tough conversations had to be like, we got to know that when these things start to show up, we're off track. And then we have to come back together again and say, what do we want to do about that? Because we had agreed upon this, and these are some signals. We're not in the agreement we made. So we either got to rewrite the agreement or address these. And that works so well because, again, relationship is co-created. If one person is running it, it's not a relationship. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. Actually, can I just tell you the one that I love, the story I love with Jay?
Yeah.
Because again, we were bras together, you know, and like he saw me without my makeup. We play football. I love smoke cigars. Like, let's go do it, brah. So I used to call him Foster. Hey, Foster. Now I'm Mrs. Foster. Woo! So, I mean, he's super attractive, and I love how attractive he is, and I'm turned on by him so much, and it's still clear to this day. And suddenly it was like feeling that I'm measuring how much time other women are getting compared to what I'm getting.
Oh, are you
Or-
guys polyamorous?
No,
Oh, sorry.
but there's still attractiveness, there's still engagement, there's still play out there. And again, as we're defining where our lines are, because we even just, explored that too. The one thing I finally had to say, and this is where I got to kind of just drop right into our friendship, was, you know what? I'm just going to have to be honest about this. I'm going to have to live with the fact if other women didn't want to fuck you, I wouldn't want to either.
You said that to him?
Yeah.
That is so good.
Wait, how did
And he went, oh my God, that's true about you too. And I go, I know, right? So that comes with the scene because I'm not going to dummy down to stop other people's attraction to me. So how are we going to navigate this? How are we going to navigate this? When this comes up, how are we going to bring it? Because you were looking at her too long is not a conversation I'm interested in having. I'm actually feeling a little bit like I'm not sure that I'm still your number one. And he'll go, okay, great, thanks. So it's like we have these little mechanisms that we use to make sure, like, yes, I will be, Brian and I have a whole thing that just Jace feels totally outside of. And he has to be very secure in himself to allow me to be as intimately engaged with a young, hot guy like Brian. But he does it because he trusts me and that I'm going to bring what has been generated here home to him.
Mhm.
So that was now our blanket, like, easy access rule is get your engine started anywhere you want, but park only in my garage.
That's hilarious. I love that. So are you guys monogamous?
We are.
You're monogamous now.
We are monogamous.
You said you dabbled though.
Yes. Yes.
Can we talk? I know you have other notes.
Oh no, I mean, well, this is
he's-
something. So we ended up having this conversation on the way to the airport,
Yeah.
and I took you to the Amex Lounge. We
Best.
hung out there for.
I mean,
have
one
you
of
been
the
to
hottest
Amex
dates I've
Lounge
been on in a
before?
long time.
It was like a day. She hadn't been in before, so I was like, "Here's my gift. I want to bring you to the
And
Amex Lounge."
he was the ambassador. I mean, he was wonderful.
Okay, Mr. Amex
Yeah, oh
Lounge.
man, it's worth every penny.
It's
of that
totally worth
card.
every penny. And it's so, and it's worth double to go with him.
But what you shared in the car was that sometimes people do think because of her open and how open Jay and her are about their emotions and how secure they are, people do often think that you are
Correct.
non-monogamous and you're not.
I have been mistaken for that.
Mm.
And then that kind of throws you off a bit because they almost expected you to be.
You
Or
know,
they-
I think it's happened in multiple arenas that I am so an advocate of you have the right to choose that people will assume I'm making the same choice as them. So I've been mistaken for gay, bi, fluid. I've been mistaken for, and again, there's wonderful names for us to try and assimilate all the information. I'm not quite sure. I just know I'm me.
Mhm.
Like, yes, I have slept with straight women and gay men. So figure that out. I don't know what to call me. When I'm with like that kind of exploration, so, we have to even define what monogamy means because I love kissing. So if I get the stamp of approval from Jay, and Jay loves to watch me kissing women. So we have done that, but I have such a respect for the poly lifestyle. I wouldn't try to sneak in that with that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It is actually a devoted making it work, designing it from the ground up, at a level of relationship that a lot of other lifestyles don't actually have, because it requires hard conversations. It requires us aligning on what this means to us and all of that. So that, like, I don't want to say we're that. And we have so far gotten enough juice out of talking about a third. We haven't had one.
Yeah. I did that for a couple of years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I've been the third in other people's relationships. So we've actually even part of the fantasy and part of the play with it is what would be our safety nets and how we would do that. And
But yeah, I think you just nailed it. Like you have the skill set of being able to make someone feel seen immediately, like met and seen for who they are. I mean, you
Mm.
did it with Layla, you did it
Mm.
with our producer on the way in, just to see the masterpiece in people. And so then they would, I see how they would go to like, oh, we must be the same. You must think the way that I do because I don't feel any judgment off of you.
thank you.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think the part I was telling you about was there was a couple of times when I began to feel judged because I was monogamous, because they were disappointed I wasn't.
Right.
Mm.
That was where I kind of felt oh, like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. This is who I am and this is how I am. So the assumption that I have no problem with that. Just don't be disappointed when you find out the truth would be great. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. When they were like, I got the 6-foot person I've been looking for, to join us for the night. You're like, sorry to disappoint you.
I have a question.
No, but I'll be your fluffer.
Yeah.
We're always looking for fluffers
Yeah.
around here. Have you always had the type of energy, because you tap into people, you have a gift beyond like training or anything like that. Have you always been really intimate with people in regard like these types of conversations and like really peering into people's souls, which you do? Have you always had that? Like, is that I don't know if that's a gift or something someone's born with. I know you said you had a rougher childhood.
I
But
mean, I think there's a combination of, there is a certain, like, I knew stuff at an early age. I don't know how I knew it. And then when I tried to share with people, they were like, that's super weird.
Mhm.
So I kind of shut it down.
Mhm.
Like, this does not have me belong. This has me stand out. And then, and my parents knew this even before they passed, I would talk about this, my sensitivity to picking up on a mood from just a footstep, an exhale, because they were both alcoholics. They both recovered. It's the most heroic thing you can ever see a human being to do. So yes, huge disappointment on some levels, and the greatest heroes of my life that they were drunks and got sober. So because of that, and we all have it, but we don't develop it in our current world because we no longer have to have 360 degree where is everything like we used to when we were in our primal years. I have to know that the sound of the branch bending like that means bird is safe. No, when it bends like that, it means predator. Like we had developed that, we honed that. And I did that in an early age because of my folks, because I could tell if I had to hide my sister in the garage till I got everything cleaned up, if I had to, get everybody out to the woods or whatever was coming, I could tell, or if it was going to be fun or if it was going to be okay. So that combination, like that developing of it. And then as I got older, realized the things I know without knowing why, had more permission to just, I can really trust what I know.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to develop that, I say this to people all the time because it's usually the question that comes, you have to be willing to be wrong to get good at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at right now in training is I see things sometimes or feel things sometimes, and I'm learning to trust myself to ask a question in front of a bunch of people and being willing to risk being wrong.
Yeah.
But I get like a gut feeling that something's off, or someone thought about something and didn't do it. And just to kind of fall, like I'm not a superpower, but just something in me feels off. And I've been recently, and what I'm proud of is like just saying it, just owning it, asking
It's
the question.
great.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so
And
challenging
I'm
to
willing
trust.
to be wrong about this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm going to inquire. I'm not attached to it and I'm not going to reject it. I get a sense. And then often, yes, that intuitiveness starts to develop because you begin
For
to
sure.
use the instrument of self to be able to know even ever more so. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
true.
I think the
you
thing
know,
I want to bring it to the most, and before we have to wrap up, is relationship.
We're
Because I
wrapping up.
think
I know that
like,
hour goes by fast.
because I think sometimes in relationship, like you and I have had conversations where it's like, I've never gone here with you before, but I've been
Mm,
feeling this or I've been wanting to say this. Can I say this with you? And Layla will be like, well, why didn't you say that months ago? And it's like, I didn't know if we were there yet for me to say it. And I didn't know if it was
mhm,
true, but I'm just
mhm.
going to go there with you right now anyway. I'm still learning to trust that. And
Right.
like you said, we all have it in us. It's just not
And the
all of
only
us
way to develop is I got to
use it.
check in, and I'm checking in. That's the thing, is it's always being I'm checking in. And you know what? Frankly, humanity is a smorgasbord. Like there's nothing like taking down the armor and the guard and just
The
like,
mask.
hey, show like, come on in.
Right.
Let me taste this particular flavor.
Yeah.
Because you're never happening again. There's
Mm-hmm.
never going to be this again. This is my one chance. So why wouldn't I?
Mm-hmm.
And then we were all born masterpieces, and we all have conditioning and thoughts and things that kind of take us out of our natural grace and divinity. We're divine beings having a human experience. I think that, and I'm getting hokey in my old age, the quantum field, the way I want to impact it is that's the vibe I want more of. So I can't accept you till I find out who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and can accept you even when I don't agree with you. Like that's really what I want to grow more of. So when you even started talking about this podcast, one of the things I was so thrilled about, like, I'm just going to get emotional about this because I do feel like a guest in your world. I'm not poly. And yet I know relationship, and I know love, and I know risk, and I know fear, and I know doubt. And my God, if we can sit and have these kinds of conversations, because I don't think my way is better. I think it's better for me. So I humbly just celebrate and give all the room for what you've got. And we can meet there without needing to be identical. We can harmonize. And if more groups out in the world were willing to sit down, we would quit talking to the people that agree with us and rejecting the people that don't. And pretty soon we'd have that kind of connection all through the world. So this felt so important to me, Brian, because the work you two, Layla, feels so important to me, because that whole I am authentically me and I don't need everyone to agree is going to change the world. So thanks for the opportunity, because this is what needs to happen more. Tell me more about what it's like. Like, I have a question for you. No, I'm going to pick you.
Oh.
And then if we have time, we'll go to him.
Okay.
Okay. And then we'll get back to you, our audience. How does husband be distinct from lover or boyfriend? What does husband receive or have that those other roles do not get?
He gets me, he gets all of me like 24/7 for the most part, right? We are at the moment practice hierarchical polyamory, but we're open to kitchen table if the right person comes along. But for now, we have children together, we have businesses together, we have, we've been together for 14 years. We've been through a lot together, experiences. So he sees the true me, even if I'm not trying to show it.
Okay. And there's a trust there. We've agreed on this. Okay,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Because even the fact that there's different titles, I know must mean that, because there is some of that. I know it's very common in monogamy that are resistant to anything outside of it is, well, this is my one person. Well, again, when I kiss a girl at a bar, I'm not elevating her to his status.
Right.
She's somebody else I'm kissing.
Mhm.
So yes, they share that in common, but there is something distinct that is only for him. And I wondered if that was the same.
Mm, I don't know. I think that my husband and I, we really do. We tap into kind of like what you do a little bit. We do tap into other people's energies. And I think we're
Mhm.
really good at helping people unmask themselves and
Cool.
to live a more, like to talk to us authentically
Mhm.
and just kind of cut the shit. I don't care about the weather. I don't care what you do for work. What's something you're excited about?
Mhm.
Right. So I
Nice.
think we are really good about connecting with other people.
So good.
So it's an interesting question, because actually, if I really think about it, I think truly the only difference is the amount of time and like kids and businesses. But I think I give the same level of authenticity and love to
What
other
about
people.
commitment? Is
Mm,
commitment degree different with husband than boyfriend or lover?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if with James, if I was having similar issues to what I've had with my husband in the past, I would have said, okay, this isn't working for me.
Mhm.
Whereas with my husband, I'm like, we have to work on this.
Work through it. Okay, that's
Right.
great. What would you say?
I'm not in a polyamorous relationship. So
Okay.
our brand's different. I mean, I would say my partner is my best friend and my focus. Actually, the feedback I get from people who hang out with us is they tell me it is clear what your number one priority is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually what makes some people feel safe to be around us.
Yeah.
I think that for my partner and I, like we are focused, we're building a life together, but this is part of how we have fun. And as long as it's building value in our relationship, then we'll do it. We'll explore it and have fun with it. Does that answer
But
your
that
question?
depth and priority is for her and her alone.
For sure. Like if we
Okay,
walked
great.
into a party and she wants to leave immediately, we're leaving.
Hmm.
I'm not going to send her home and then me come back or anything like that. She's her and her emotions and what's going on with her when it relates to the space are my priority.
Do you
So
give the
great.
same level of vulnerability that you give your wife to other people?
No.
Why?
Um,
Doesn't that
so
sucks?
I will meet
Why?
in
Well,
the
because like we're like being authentic and vulnerable with other people is just I've grown so much as a person because of it, and it's just it feels so. And it's not that it's wrong for you. What's right for you is right for you, but just I don't know why it triggered me. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay because there's something there for you for sure. But I think we have to be aware too. Vulnerability doesn't come in one size. Yes, when you're saying vulnerability, sure. But how many human beings do you want wiping the vomit off your chin? That's also vulnerability. I don't want everybody doing that.
Mhm.
I don't want to be that vulnerable with
I
everybody.
think that's the thing.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
yes, vulnerability, yes, across the board. And let's not lie about there's varying degrees, just like there would be with other emotions or topics.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Because
I think that I'm vulnerable and honest and direct with people. Absolutely. But I mean, the days when I feel like I bombed it, like I felt on Sunday, where I feel like I broke some things and didn't get it right and was questioning myself, like that's who I call. You know, there are some friends, or I'd call a friend. Like I would probably call Mary Jo because she probably gets the ego fracture I was in because we've been through similar experiences. But in general, even though my wife hasn't been through the experience, I'll call her. But that's the relationship I built with her.
because we even talked a little bit about like younger generations and how it's evolving because
Yeah.
the tenacity and longevity of the old definition of relationship no longer fits anymore because there isn't that same, they don't, like the younger generations don't have longevity built into their lives anymore. Like I had to do some things with my kids because it takes them 15 minutes to write a paper. It took me 2 weeks because I had to get a ride to the library. I'm older than you guys. I had to get a ride to the library. I had to go to the Dewey Decimal System. I had to get the shit out. I had to copy it because I wasn't allowed to take it out. And then I had to take it home and write it. They go, hey, Siri, tell me about Mesopotamia.
ChatGPT, and then they rewrite. You're right. They don't have like
They don't have
long-term
long-term longevity
That's so
muscles built in.
interesting.
So now what they think is connection is instantaneous. And you brought up the 4 seasons, which is a beautiful Native American thing. You do not share a life with someone until you have walked beside their moccasin for all 4 seasons. Because you find out what they are on a good day, a bad day, when they're lonely, when they're tired, when they're happy, when they're ecstatic, when they're successful. Like you want to see that whole thing because that's what you're actually committing to. If you haven't seen it all, doesn't matter. You're still committing to it.
Mhm.
So I love that you brought that in.
It was so subtle too.
It
But
was.
it was another big anvil in my journey. But we're out of time today. And we'll have to come back because we did want to get into Gen Z. We
No,
did
we're
want to talk
bringing her
about
back.
the 4 seasons.
We're bringing her back.
So I mean, I feel like this is going to benefit a lot of people. So thank you so much for coming on
it's such
and
a
sharing your
pleasure.
Thank you
gifts.
so much. That was
Yeah.
really special. I learned a lot.
I'm so glad, honey.
For anyone
And I'm
who-
looking forward to more.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
For anyone who does see this and decides they want to work with someone like you, how would they find you or engage with you?
First thing I would say is I'm a coaching model, not a therapeutic model. So it's, again, leadership skills in relationship. It's ownership. It's no longer you make me feel. It is I'm responsible for the current state of our relationship. So that's got to be the mindset. It's a big risk. It's a big dive. It's a big ego fracture. And the rewards are beyond orgasmic, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. I just rebranded as selfmasterymentoring.com is my website. So you can always find me there. I've taken a little break from social media. So I'm about to go out again into the world because my brand has always been, I don't want you to listen to me. I want you to use what I'm offering to hear you. So I needed to get out of I'm not here to be heard. I'm here so you can hear you. So I'm working now on what that means to me and how that fits into, like, I don't want people on their phones more. I want them out living their lives.
Right.
So I'm in a little bit of that kind of thing.
Tell
So
me
there's,
about it. We got to figure it out though, because
yeah,
there gets to be
absolutely.
a both and of that. And I hope this
Exactly.
podcast episode can be a part of it.
Yeah, I would love that too, honey.
Yeah.
I would love that too.
Thank you so much.
I love you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Great.
And I hope it's okay, but I adore you.
Thank you.
Like, it's true and I'm not going to lie.
Thank you. I adore you too.
Okay, good.
I do. I know. Regardless,
you.
we're like, let's hang out. Let's
Well,
hang out.
everyone, that is another episode of the Unmasked Project. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you love this content, don't forget to like and subscribe so we can keep bringing amazing guests like Mary Jo on. And until we see you next time, make sure to try something or try someone new.